This program is brought to you by the partners of A Rood Awakening International. Help others find truth. Support A Rood Awakening International today.
Like a scene out of Indiana Jones, the real Dr. Jones, Miles Jones, soon after arriving in Saudi Arabia, received a call in the middle of the night to a secret meeting with an unnamed man. Upon arriving to that meeting, Dr. Jones was handed an ancient, pocket-sized book with pages made of gold. What was written on those pages revealed the reason for the secrecy, and you'll hear the whole story tonight because it's the end of the sixth day. The sun is set, and this is Shabbat Night Live.
As they take this message out into the world.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom to our fans. Welcome to Shabbat Night Live with Michael Rood. You know, if there was ever a true-to-life Indiana Jones story told on this stage, it is tonight. This is wild. I mean, phone calls in the middle of the night, secret messages with unnamed people in the middle of Saudi Arabia, and an honest-to-goodness book made of gold. All true. It is what it is. You can't make this stuff up. Miles Jones and Patrick McGuire share their amazing encounter tonight. But first, we have another biblical archaeology pro on our stage right now, and he is my co-host, the one and only Michael Rood. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thanks, Scott. It's good to be here.
You know, Miles and Patrick may have some crazy stories, but you know, you lived in Israel you're back and forth there for how many years? Like 20 years?
Yeah, I lived there for 20 years.
Man, you must have seen a lot of crazy stuff living there.
Yeah, but the biggest one was just about getting blown up.
Oh, wow. Okay, so now I've heard this story, but I want you to tell it fresh for those who have never heard how you almost got blown up in Israel, so please.
Okay. I was walking down the street in Jerusalem, and I was going by a shoe store at 52 Jaffa Place.
Okay.
And as I walked by the shoe store, a woman walked out and she blew up a bomb that was in her hands. So she set the bomb already and it blew up when she got outside of the women's and children's shoe store. And when the bomb went off, her head blew off and landed at my feet.
Oh my goodness.
And I was covered with body parts all over me, and I lost my hearing. That's why I wear hearing aids now.
How close were you to that explosion?
Very close.
Wow.
And so the woman's head blew off and landed at my feet, and I wrapped her head up because I didn't know it was the terrorist. Yeah. So I wrapped it up very carefully and put it down and told the police I put a woman's head over by a pillar. And so they were able to take care of it when the emergency crews came in. And so I walked back to the house, and there Roberto was standing. And he told me a bomb went off in down around Jerusalem. And I said, I know I was there. And I was all covered with all pieces of flesh on me. And he took my clothes to the dry cleaners. And he was the one who took care of that and took care of Haim and myself. He was in the shoe store.
Oh, Haim was in the shoe store?
He was in the shoe store.
Wow.
And so he would have been blown up if it went off, the bomb went off inside. But it didn't, it went off outside. So a man was standing by me, and both of his arms and legs were blown off, and he was dead.
Wow. So this bomb went off prematurely is what the estimation was?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Wow. So you returned back. Now, did the Israeli police call you to be a witness for anything or ask you any questions?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
I guess it was pretty obvious about it.
Yeah, I guess so.
With all the dead people.
What happened, and that was that. My goodness. How long did it take for your hearing to come back? That's crazy.
It didn't come back all the way.
Well, obviously, yeah, even today. Wow. So that's an incredible story. And Miles and Patrick, I don't know if you've heard their story yet about the gold book.
Yes, I did.
This thing, that's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it again, though.
Yeah, and there was more than one.
Yeah.
There's more than one. And I guess the reason for the secrecy is because you can imagine, this is in Saudi Arabia, and here is this Hebrew artifact that could possibly hint to a lost priesthood in the Bible, which everyone was trying to push away and make them disappear. And now comes this evidence. It's in a Muslim country. I mean, that's no wonder it has to be secret.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff that he's going to be bringing out.
Yep, absolutely. And Patrick now is with him so they can capture everything on film properly when they're there. And Patrick just sort of accompanies him to make sure that everything is documented. And they're actually making university-grade classes with this.
Oh, are they?
People can actually get, now I'm not sure where they're at in the process, but you can actually get credits for doing their classes in biblical archaeology.
Oh, yeah. Miles is a professor.
Yep. Yeah, he knows what he's doing for sure. He did that, what was it called, way back in the long time ago, called Jones Geniuses.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
They took little kids and they paired them with Mensa geniuses.
Yeah.
And the kids actually, who were trained by Miles, beat these geniuses in terms of mathematical.
Mathematics, yes,
Yeah.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we heard about that many years ago.
All right, so tonight you are in for a treat with Miles Jones and Patrick McGuire. Here's what you're going to see.
He opened up this bag, and the first thing he pulled out was this book with pages of beaten gold.
How big is this book?
About the size of my two hands here.
Okay, so 5 inches tall. About the size of this.
About this size, a little bit narrower.
It was a little bit wider too, so it was about the size of.
So golden pages.
Right.
Well, when you open it up, yeah.
And holding a gold book in your hand is exciting enough, but that's not the thing that really excited me. It was right there. You can see on the book a signet circle, and I'll give you a better look at it, a signet circle with the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in it. That's what interested me.
Wow.
That caught my attention right away. You had in the ancient letters, you have the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. This is obviously a Hebrew artifact that has been discovered in Arabia.
There you have it. It's as crazy as it looks, like a scene out of Indiana Jones. The real Dr. Jones, Miles Jones, was called to a secret meeting where he was handed an ancient pocket-sized book with pages made of gold. Yeah, right. No, it's true. And tonight you're going to hear the amazing story of why this was so important. But first, it's the Kiddish with Michael. Stay with us.
What does it mean to be a man? Is it what the world says? If that's true, why are there so many broken lives, broken homes, and broken spirits when men do things the world's way?
So many men will say yes when it's convenient. And then when it's time to cash in that yes, oh, it's too difficult, my wife's unhappy, I got a thing going on. No, you said you would be there.
In this month's Love Gift teaching, Biblical Manhood, survivalist teacher, firearms expert, emergency response instructor, entrepreneur, and servant of the Most High, Bear Independent, reestablishes the simple biblical model of what Yehovah expects of men in every aspect of their lives. This teaching is not available anywhere online, but we'll give it to you as our thanks for supporting A Rood Awakening International. When you donate $50 as a love gift to this ministry in March, we'll send you Biblical Manhood with Bear Independent on DVD or Blu-ray. Donate $100 and we'll send you Biblical Manhood, plus a 40-ounce stainless steel insulated tumbler with encouraging verses from the Bible, plus a matching prayer journal. Donate $300 and we'll send you Biblical Manhood, the matching stainless steel tumbler and prayer journal, and a limited edition clay plaque, hand-painted in Israel, featuring pomegranate artwork and 24-karat gold accents. These gifts are a limited time offer from Michael Rood to thank you for your support. Make your donation today and receive the $50 gift, the $100 gift, or the $300 gift. Thank you. Your donations ensure that important teachings like biblical manhood keep coming from A Rood Awakening International. Use your smartphone to scan the QR code on your screen to donate now and receive these limited time gifts. Or call 888-766-3610 or get your gifts online with a donation at monthlylovegift.com.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ted Clayton.
And I'm Michael Rood.
And ladies and gentlemen, we got a special thing happening here at
And
Rood
here
Awakening.
it is, Ted.
What is it?
The chronological Gospels are now in Spanish.
Yes, the chronological Gospels are now in Spanish. And the Spanish-speaking world is going crazy over the chronological Gospels. But here's the problem. It could cost as much as the book cost to ship it to South America.
Oh, yeah.
As much as $30 a book, Michael.
We need some help on that.
If you would prayerfully consider today a donation of $30 to offset the cost of shipping, because folks, in South America, $30 could be half a month or a month's pay. Would you please prayerfully consider giving that $30 today to help ship the chronological Gospels to South America?
We need their help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
The traditions that we have in modern-day Judaism remind us of what we did in the temple, and some of these traditions go back long before the temple in Jerusalem. It reminds us of when Melchizedek, the king of righteousness, brought forth bread and wine to Abraham when he came back from the slaughter of kings, and Melchizedek, the Melchizedek, the king of righteousness, blessed the Most High with the blessing that Abraham then taught to his son Isaac and then was passed down through the generations. Yeshua said, Abraham saw my day and he rejoiced. He gave a tenth of everything because he saw the broken body and the shed blood. Melchizedek, as Abraham and all of his offspring, then continue to say this prayer of sanctification. Baruch atah Yehovah, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hamotzi lechem mi'haaretz. Blessed are you, Yehovah, our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. And Yeshua said, this bread represents my body, which will be broken for you. And this is what Yeshua said the last night that he was with his disciples. This represents his broken body that was broken for us. And then the blessing of the wine. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei peri hagafen. Blessed are you, Yehovah, our God, King of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. And Yeshua said, this is a renewed covenant, which will be paid for in my blood. As often as you do this in remembrance of me.
So what you're about to see on this episode, you probably won't see it on CNN, won't see it on History Channel. Who cares?
Not yet.
And not yet, says Miles Jones, who joins us today with Patrick McGuire. Welcome back, guys.
You're
to be here.
So this is really good stuff that has evidence. It's not like, well, we're not going to show it yet because there's not enough evidence. There's evidence.
This is hard evidence.
There's people, they're just not going to catch on for a couple of years. So anybody who's watching this today is going to be years ahead of the crowd. So
right, and that's not the first time. The whole idea of Mount Sinai being in Arabia, that's something that was pioneered here in the studio. Michael Rood saw it. He had the vision to see it, and he brought in people like Jim and Penny Caldwell and myself. And now the entire world attitude has changed. We've reached a tipping point over that time because the evidence is there.
Well, the tipping point, even just with your crew. I mean, when the cameras were off here, I mean, Patrick, I think you'd mentioned there's people on your crew from literally all over the world. I mean,
in our institute also, we have people all over the world.
Yeah, like this group you guys have is like growing. You know, this is not just some little niche where there's a couple of guys who think this might be what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people who are really invested in this.
That's right, and they're not there because of me. I don't have that kind of power. They're there because they were called by God to do this work with us. We couldn't be doing it without it because they're volunteering their very valuable skills to do this work.
Now the work, speaking of which, we want to talk about a couple of things today. First of which being something called the Gold Book.
Yes, the Gold Book.
What is this? I've heard about the lead tablet. So I think it was Aaron Lipkin brought this to our attention. We've had another guest who's mentioned it as well, but that's not what this is. This is something else. This is a gold book, not a lead tablet.
This is an incredible thing that happened while we were in Arabia. We just finished a long Atlantic voyage in the air through you know how exhausting those things are. And Rhonda Sand, who set up our expedition for us of Living Passages, she was really great. She said, there's someone I trust, and I trust you, and I wanted to bring you together. I made an appointment for you at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's already like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I just said, okay, I'll be there. So I go down at 6 o'clock in the morning, and this Arab that she had contacted that she trusted, will leave him unnamed, he opened up this bag, and the first thing he pulled out was this book with pages of beaten gold.
How big is this book?
About the size of my two hands here.
Okay, so 5 inches tall. About the size of this.
About this size, a little bit narrower.
It was a little bit wider too, so it was about the size of.
So golden pages.
Right.
Well, when you open it up, yeah.
And holding a gold book in your hand is exciting enough, but that's not the thing that really excited me. It was right there. You can see on the book a signet circle, and I'll give you a better look at it, a signet circle with the Yod He Vav He in it. That's what interested me.
Wow.
That caught my attention right away. You had in the ancient letters, you have the Yod He Vav He. This is obviously a Hebrew artifact that has been discovered in Arabia. So these are the archives from the archives of the Beni Quareza, and they are a Hebrew, a priestly tribe that was located in Arabia. There are other Hebrew tribes there too. And we have some fascinating evidence on them.
So this was a Saudi Arabian guy who came to you. Did he know the language of what he had in this book? Did he know what it was?
I don't think so, because he seemed genuinely surprised when I told him it was the name of Yehovah on there.
Wow.
Right on the front. So I don't think they would have been able to translate it. This would take an expert or an institute full of experts. Luckily, I have one. So they brought to the right people. So
I think that's what Rhonda said, hey, we got some ancient language guys here. Well, we got to see them. And there was also 6 other lead books, larger lead books with a number of pages in that same bag. As well as a box. We're going to show you this.
Basically there are 15 lead books when we got to the treasure trove.
Now, the first question, of course, is, wow, okay, so how old is this thing? What do we have any estimation as to when this thing came from?
Well, we do have some estimation. It's probably at least 2,000 years old.
Wow.
At least.
Really?
It could be older than that. But the information on it is definitely the story of the Israelites as they came through, because it is a story basically in both pictures and prose. So, and we have managed to translate enough of it to tell what is going on in here.
So now gold, one more question, because I'm just curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if these are truly like gold pages, I mean, how does that work? Where if there's several pages on top of each other, and we know gold is soft, how does the inscription not get mashed?
Well, it's embossed. It was embossed,
Right.
and then you can see the bindings, like a ring bindings.
Okay.
It's got ring binding, and they are gold too. The rings are gold.
So it's really thin, but they've embossed it. Okay, so
And that's not going to disappear, or it'd be hard to stomp that out. But they took very good care of it. It's obviously been cared for.
precious. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And the hint that this might be Hebrew is in the next page, where there is some menorahs carved into it as well.
well, hold on to that. But this first page with the signet saying Yehovah says, Yehovah, I shall give the ark. The mountain of God is one, it cannot be broken. This generation has planted seeds of strength. Yehovah is the seed of seeds. That tells you a lot. That
Wow.
kind of tells you where it's from, doesn't it?
That must have been so fun to transcribe that or translate that.
It was a very challenging thing for our team to translate. The fact that we did it in about a month, really,
Wow.
from getting back to Arabia, and we were here at the Passover special to do it. So that was
Is that phrase
fascinating.
found anywhere else, or is this kind of something special to this book?
Well, seeds is mentioned a lot in Genesis, and the seed is incredibly important. It's obvious, and Satan has always been trying to corrupt the seed throughout time, and that's a theme most people miss in Scripture. But he talks about the seed and the importance of the seed. The flood was to destroy all the seed that was corrupted and that was not good, so that this seed could survive. So it's a hugely important theme in Scripture.
But
so it would make sense that it would be, because the priestly tribes, they keep track of the history, and that's obviously what this is. It is an annal of the journey of the Israelites since the beginning, and we know that story. So this one, but it's got pictures, it's got prose, it's pretty clear.
Pictures and prose, but yet not scripture. Like I was just saying, that writing there did not strike me as something I remember from the Bible per se. That's something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's definitely their own explanation of it, but there are things that are very much biblical.
Wow.
The name of God is biblical. So we'll look at it. You can see here, you have a menorah right there in the corner. You have a menorah.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And on the right, you have a picture of the temple and a palm tree, and the name of God is right there beside the trunk.
And is that Paleo Hebrew that we're seeing there?
Yes, that would definitely be Paleo Hebrew.
And has anybody had time to try and figure out what that says? Or
yeah, we've translated some of this enough to know what the general theme of this is. So you've got some very common icons, one of which is the menorah you see all the time. The columns of the temple seem to represent the temple. The palm trees, and all around the edges you've got vines with grapes on them. And you've got the sunburst. So they represent the promised land, as far as we can tell. And there are other things that are located in there. You have a palm leaf on the other side.
It looks to me like is it in best estimation to say that it's a date palm?
I think so, yes.
I think so, with the dates hanging off there? Yeah.
So you've got that, and here you have from that, remember this is embossed on there. So you've got the front of the page and the back of the page. They emboss it from the back. You can see it on the front, but it'll last forever. This is not going to go away, and that was obviously the intent. And the fact that it's done in gold means it's something sacred to these people, right?
Right, yeah.
So that's what they're writing on. This, you can see the thumb of Patrick McGuire right there.
Wow, you're a hand model, Patrick. How about that?
Yeah, well, here I am holding this this gold, and I'm just trying to get it the shadow just right so we could read it.
Oh my God!
But I'm holding it, and it didn't quite hit me what I was holding until later. But that the fact that one, it's an antique. I mean, if you melt the gold down itself, it's not going to, whatever the price of an ounce of gold, a couple ounces of gold is. But what's put into this gold is priceless, and it certainly is telling a story. And it was these, we think, were found somewhere near Medina.
And what priestly line did you say this was belonging to?
The Bene Quareza.
Okay, and who are they?
Well, they left the Promised Land of 2nd century under Roman oppression. And people don't understand how bad Roman oppression was, because generally the Roman church overlooks and gives a pass to the Roman military, and the Roman church married, and since then they've been giving the Romans a pass on everything they did, like crucifying Yeshua. So it wasn't the Romans' fault, it was the Jews' fault, right? Right. So you've got all of this happening here. This particular page reads, Mitzrayim, Egypt has been spoiled.
Okay.
That sounds like a part of the journey. So one would assume that this might be some of that very gold that had been spoiled from the Egyptians, perhaps.
Makes sense.
I don't know. That gold is a big trading item in the Mideast.
Well, and I think people fail to really stop and think about how much gold was given to the Israelites. I mean, this sustained them forever in the desert, and they were able to trade and get, buy things with it, and who knows what else. Never mind make all of the accoutrements for the tabernacle.
Yes.
I mean, where else would they have gotten the gold?
Imagine.
The Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark of the Covenant? The golden calf, not just
all of that.
The golden calf was from their slave earrings.
Slave earrings are true enough.
Which was kind of a mess there. But I had an artist say, the priest Aaron says, I just threw the gold in the fire and this calf came out. Well, his younger brother's going, sure, right.
Sure, Dad.
Okay. I had a world-renowned artist in my Bible study, and we were going through this, and he goes, the priest making a sculpture, it must have been a pretty poor piece of art to begin with. It was probably an abomination before the Lord. Even that, this is your God? Come on, give me a break. So I can see where he's pretty upset about that.
They were all very ingrained in the Egyptian culture and way of life. So that's why the Egyptian influence is everywhere. On
well, we see that on the calf, or the altar to the golden calf.
The altar to the golden calf.
They knew the
bull
artwork.
Dance from Apis. All of that stuff is there. The Horus depiction, Horus being suckled by Hathor. Even the all-seeing eye of Yehovah.
Yeah.
That's all of Egyptian origin.
They knew the stuff. They knew the stories. They knew them by heart, obviously, but then they just sort of...
Any archaeologists, they want to know where these people are, suddenly appeared in the desert in Sinai, you're going to follow their art, their cultural icons that have left. That's where you're going to find them. And they lead you right to Goshen, where there are other depictions of the bull dance. So a similar thing is going on here. Where does this come from? Well, you look at their artwork, their icons that they use, and they're very common and very Egyptian. This one mentions the very name of Egypt. So this after they showed us this in the hotel, we set up to take a day out of our schedule. I don't know how we found a day in our schedule, and we traveled. You might want to tell them that, right?
Well, it was different than where we had been going over the. In the desert and whatnot. So we're on highways, and we're basically in the area of the Amalekites, their area. But the mountains were beautiful. It was just amazing. But we went for about 3 hours at least driving. I said, where are we going? And they take us to this hotel. It was kind of cloak and dagger, actually.
Yeah,
take us to the hotel. I said, okay, now go in the hotel, and then the driver will leave,
be along to pick you up,
and someone else will come and pick you up. And I'm like, okay. And I got my cameras and stuff, and okay, we're going to, and so then they pick us up and they take us to another undisclosed location, you know, a bunker and whatever.
They didn't put hoods over your head.
Yeah, no, they didn't do that.
No, they didn't.
Actually, they were nice enough to put us in a Mercedes and drive us like we were royalty almost.
They were very gracious.
It was very, very hospitable. And then we came into this room where the Saudis, they have these little couches that are only this far off the ground that you kind of recline at.
Okay.
And that's more of a traditional kind of thing. So we're trying to figure out where am I going to set up a table to shoot this.
So they're serving us tea and dates.
We had to have the tea and dates really first before we could even see the thing. So it was a very cultural experience. And then we photographed as fast as we could because we didn't know how much time we had just to get as much shot as possible and try to get the angles right, get the light right that you could actually see the embossing. Now the gold book came out really good. We're going to show you some of the lead book stuff that we were trying to do, and those literally had not been opened in probably 2,000 years. So as we opened them, it was full of dust and everything. We're trying to clean it off.
Leached minerals from the lead. The minerals leach out, so we had to clean that off so we could photograph but it also was embossed. And they did this for it to last forever. That's what they did it for. So obviously this is important information. So it was akin to each other.
And they said they had discovered it as a construction situation where they found this hollow area, and it was
they were pitching a tent.
Some kind of, and all of a sudden, there's this room underneath there, and all this stuff.
They kept hitting the slab underneath, so they cleared off all the sand and dirt and everything. There's this big tabletop slab, and they managed to get it off of the top of it, and there was a chamber going down in there, and they discovered. We saw the pictures. There was a lot of gold artifacts in these archives. So we saw the pictures of them. I must admit, I'm much more interested in the information. To me, that's what is precious. You know, the history that is
in a gold lamp of some kind. But
than artifacts of gold, although they're certainly important.
And again, we don't know exactly where this was.
No.
Well, we're not disclosing.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the protection of the people involved.
Sure.
Yeah, because we hope to be able to get these things out. We'll have to work with the Saudi government. And
can you imagine just digging one day and finding this stuff?
That's
like Indiana Jones.
What happened.
Wow. We got Dr. Jones here, Dr. Miles Jones.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds like something out of another Dr. Jones movie I've seen.
They changed the names to protect the guilty.
Yeah.
When they made the movie. But so we're looking at this, and then we get taken to this other city, several hours away, and we're making it. And it's kind of, I don't know, what was your feeling when we were doing that? It was kind of like being at Mount Sinai. Is this really happening?
Yeah, it was real surreal. Yeah.
Because we saw that, we saw the actual seal of the Beni Qurayza, which is in this document, and this is here another gold book, and it's got it is gold, but it's from a different source. And you can see on there, it's got a different seal on it than the seal of the Beni Qurayza. And that we have translated. It says the name of the house of Yah.
Now, so this, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's another Hebrew tribe. There were many. There were many. I've studied the history of it. So there were many in that time. The Beni Qurayza actually brought agriculture, the use of agriculture into Arabia. Because they had all been herdsmen. They had not started agriculture, so they became very prosperous. And there were other tribes.
Now I'm going to ask you more about this book. We got to take a break. We'll come right back to this. It's I love this stuff. This is fascinating. This literally is like watching an Indiana Jones movie that you guys literally lived. So
I know it's
a Dr. Jones movie is what it is. We'll just keep it at that.
I when in situations like this, faced with gold archives, I always ask myself, What would Indiana Jones do?
Got a bag of sand to replace it.
Yeah. You need to legally change your name to Indiana from Miles, I think. Yeah.
There you
or
go.
Kerrville, at least. Yeah.
So thank you for joining Indiana and Patrick here with us on the stage. You made this all possible. How? Through your donations, that's how. Without your donations, this doesn't happen. Let me say that again. Without your donations, this doesn't happen. There is not some large corporation that's filling up a bank account somewhere. You are it. We have no advertisers. You are it. You're the one who helped these guys get here with their plane rides, with their hotel rooms. Thank you so much. You have actually helped other people see this into the future by your donations. Thank you, and we'll give you an opportunity to do that again in 2 seconds. Hey, thank you for making this happen. Just before the break, we were talking about this gold book, and Dr. Miles, I didn't get a chance to ask you this before the break, but is this book that we saw on the screen, is it relatively the same size as that first one we saw? You said this one was another different book.
It's another gold book from another source. So that indicates there's a ton of these archives in Arabia. Unless you think there's a bunch of people making up gold books in ancient languages, you know. Than in the ancient alphabet, and much less Hebrew. These are Hebrew artifacts. There's no doubt about
country.
that. Yes, in an Arabic country. So it opens the door really wide that there's a much broader involvement of the Hebrews in the Arabian history. Just to give you an example. And basically it's been sat on because they're not really keen on that idea, to put it mildly, all right? But we know from Scripture that all the patriarchs came out of Arabia, right? And we know why, actually. But when you're reading it, you start picking up, okay, they're Amorites or Arameans or Chaldeans, so on and so forth. But they're all coming out of Arabia, and they're sending back to the old country to get wives. So they come out of Arabia, they move in the Two Rivers area, the Padamaram. This is what it's called in Scripture, but it's the Tigris Euphrates, and then they spread out from there. And now, you know, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they're all getting their wives from that area, the old country. So these patriarchs are coming out of Arabia. There was a tilt in the earth, a slight tilt in the Earth's axis. So those monsoon rains that hit India right now and drop tons of rain there shifted slightly, went across the Indian Ocean right up through the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. So how do I know this? Is this just supposition? No, it's basic archaeology. You can tell the sediment of the lakes are still there. There was once thousands of lakes throughout the Saudi Arabian Peninsula and vast grasslands, plenty of water, plenty of herds. They've even found the remnants of hippopotamus in some of these lakes. So there's no doubt about the fact that this was once a well-watered, huge, grassy area, plenty of herds. But then about 5000 BC, it started to dry up. You know, the axis was shifting back. And so what happened is as it got drier and drier and drier, these people that were down there started coming out. Because I'm reading that Bible, I'm thinking, where are all these people coming from out of Arabia? There's nothing down there. There's no way large numbers of people could survive down there.
Right.
There's nothing there, you know, but there was at that time. But now they're moving out. So the patriarchs come from Arabia. And we now know Mount Sinai is in Arabia. Do we not know that?
Yeah.
And now the archives, literally the evidence of the presence of these Hebrew tribes in Arabia throughout their history is beginning to come open. You know, there obviously is more than one source, because here's another gold book that comes from there. It's written in Hebrew. It's got a menorah on the signet of the tribe.
So geographically, when we talk about Arabia or ancient Arabia, is that relatively the current area of Saudi Arabia as we know it?
Right. It is the current area of Saudi Arabia.
Does it include anything like Iraq, Iran, anywhere around
Yemen?
there?
It could.
Okay.
Well, remember Padam Aram is the two rivers area, and that's in Iraq. So, you know, the Hebrews made an impact. You know, they weren't living in a vacuum. There are all these cultures around them that they interacted with, and they had a major impact on them. For example, as I told you, the Beni Quraysh brought agriculture to Arabia. They did not have it before then. And they were able to become very prosperous and very important, you know, in that time period.
It's interesting how Yehovah allows these things to happen with modern excavation equipment to prove that his people have been everywhere all the time.
They were.
Wow.
So this is an incredible book. I don't have the rest of the pages, but it shows that there are other sources to this. I think there's a lot of this material.
Now you mentioned lead books. Is that coming up?
Yes.
We have some of that?
We're going to talk about lead books.
Okay.
This is an heirloom box. How do we know that? Because it has the word heir on it in Hebrew.
Okay.
It has the word heir on it. So this is probably what they put. We had some coins and the seal of the Beni Qurayza tribe. This may well have been their seal. What you see is a menorah there, right? But if you look closely down below what would be the candlesticks, there's a serpent on the base.
Okay, I thought maybe that was
like
a shofar or
trodden under the feet of Yehovah, or his menorah, his icon. You know, is the serpent. So that's very interesting. So this is made of lead, and so are the loops made of lead. So it's designed to last forever.
So this is for family collectibles, that type of, like a jewelry box.
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and the seal which they had, and we saw it, of the Beni Qurayza, their stamp.
Tribe.
Their stamp, right? So that's probably their seal right there. But on this same box, there you have a menorah, right?
What else did you find on there? Besides that menorah, was there anything else you picked up on?
Well, there's plenty of writing there, and we have not translated all of the writing at this point. It's a very challenging task because there's probably a mixture of languages, a mixture of scripts over a period of time that may have been a lot longer than we think. But it's probably second century AD.
Okay.
But it tells of events that happened much
So this
earlier.
is not just plain old Paleo-Hebrew, easy to decipher and away we go. This is a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's complicated. There's probably,
as if I can read Paleo-Hebrew.
Well, they're probably writing Hebrew, but there's some admixture maybe of Aramaic or Arabic or something.
Okay.
So there always is, depending upon where you're doing it. You know, so that can complicate the picture. So this is one of the lead books.
Okay. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay.
Right, and they're leaching minerals out of them because of their age. So we had to clean that off so we could see the
that had to be a very
writing.
stressful task. so as not to ruin anything, I suppose.
Well, it's pretty sturdy because it's embossed, so it's not gonna. You're not gonna scrub it away or anything. I guess so. Right. You're not gonna scrub it away. But we were gentle.
We were gentle, and we had, what are those wipes? We're just using
diaper wipes or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Trying to clean those off, and so that was an inside page that you just saw. This is an outside piece here.
Right.
But the inside pages were more of a challenge, and to be able to get the team on that, it takes time, it takes funds, that type of thing to really study this. So it's not like in the movies where,
you walk up to it and read it.
Walk up to it, read it, you're okay. And it's just not quite
so this seal that we're seeing on the screen right now.
This is the same seal. It's just nice, easy to see. I'll give you a close-up of those. You've got the seal at the top, and then below you've got a menorah. And there are other things here, other icons here. I want to show you what they are. You can see there's letters around. Yeah. So this is a picture book. Oh, it's a picture book of the history of the Israelites is what it is. So here you've got, I want you to see the littlest box there. You can see there's a pyramid there. Can you see that?
Yes, pretty obvious.
Got a pyramid, and to the left, we thought that was a river, but it really looks more like a shofar. That's a shofar. And above it, you have a broken down wall. What could that be?
Jericho.
Jericho, exactly.
So wow, this really is the story of
it is. It really is a story. And then over to the right, you've got the temple column, which probably represents this in the temple. And what do you have in the temple? You have a menorah there, right?
Interesting.
Now we've got one. I don't see if you can see it here, but you've got Jacob's ladder is one of the icons that you see that's very common in this. And they use these icons over and over again. So they're important, and they all seem to relate to the Israelites' history.
Now, speaking of importance, so we have gold books and we have lead books. Any clue, any guess as to why some were gold, some were lead?
I would guess it would be more important.
So the more precious books, the creme de la creme stories were in the gold one? And
it may be the Cliff's Notes of the lead books.
Okay, yep.
Or the presentation.
A summary.
Could be the presentation thing. The lead books were bigger, had more real estate to work with, had more pages. Obviously, lead is more available than gold.
Right.
Now, we're getting a metallurgical study done to aid these books.
Maybe who they belong to? Maybe the chief of the tribe had the
Well, knowing the when will tell it. We know the when, we know the where. And that will tell us a lot about the what. Is in these. So
and the who.
Yeah, and the who. That's very good. That's right. So we'll be able to tell what the linguistic influence is. So it's a mixture of Hebrew. It is Hebrew, and but you're going to have a mixture. You might have some Arabic or Aramaic mixed in there. That's the main challenge. So here we have the last page of the Gold Book, which is incredibly important because this one mentions the seeds of Zadok. So Zadok, if you remember from your scripture reading, Zadok was the high priest who, what you call it, ordained. What do they call it who
anointed?
Anointed. Thank you. Anointed Solomon as king of Israel. Okay, so and he had his own following, the Zadokite priests, which held sway for centuries, but then you've got all these power groups going. And I hate to tell people this, but they're out for blood. You know, you got the Sadducees, you got the Pharisees, you got the Herodian priests, and they're all scrambling for power. So eventually the Zadok priesthood lost power, and all of their books disappeared.
Imagine that.
Yes, that's what happens. Same to the Sadducees. When the power group wins out, they just sort of erase the history of their competitors. Well, one of the things that we know they had was called the Book of Zadok. That's mentioned in the records, but we don't have it unless maybe this has part of the Book of Zadok. It could be. It could well be. I mean, I don't want to get overexcited about it, but it's very possible. It mentions the seed of Zadok.
Well, the very fact, I mean, that alone is a pretty rare thing to say.
Yes. Yeah, and that's not random. That's not a random thing to say either. So you may well be looking at stuff that came from the Book of Zadok if it isn't the Book of Zadok. So,
and how much evidence do we have of writings from these folks? You said most or if not all was destroyed. So is there any other evidence that?
Not that I know of, and I think if it were in Israel, they would have found it. I'm guessing, because once they realized, for example, that papyrus could actually last as long as it had in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they went through all of the caves throughout the Dead Sea area trying to find this. Then they kept finding more and more evidence. I mean, really, every few decades they would find more evidence and have another major find. So if they were going to find it, they would have found it by now. But Arabia, that's like new territory.
Yeah, I guess it would be, right?
It's new territory. Nobody's been allowed in there, and they're growing a lot more open now. So I think we can come to some arrangement with the Saudi government. It's their stuff. I mean, I don't care where it ends up. I just want to know the evidence, and then I want the world to be able to see it and know the history. So I think we can come to an arrangement. This is us in that undisclosed location, Saudi Arabia, I'm cleaning off the lead books, and there's Patrick setting up his close-up photography.
And someone was taking one of my cameras that needs to be focused and just thought it was a snapshot thing and just snapping it. And so they're kind of out of focus, but we recognize them anyway. So the next thing we have... We
wanted to talk about something that we've just gotten.
Okay, just gotten.
From these same sources.
So even more exclusive than the gold book now.
Yes, this is something nobody's ever seen yet. We've barely seen it. Literally, we just got this a couple of days ago.
This, a couple of days ago. So you're saying that what you're about to present is going to to be here first. It's not seen anywhere. Okay.
We barely seen it.
There you go.
Another one of those.
Wow.
It's another one of those Rood specials, a Rood discovery. And there have been a number of them. People may not realize this, but Michael has had incredible vision over the years. He's been able to tap into researchers that were doing the right things and recognize when their research was really important and was going to open doors.
And give a platform.
This is another one.
So we thank for that.
Yeah. And we owe Michael.
So we got this video that's kind of shaky and all that. So I transferred it and started grabbing still shots from it. So that's what we have here.
Well, we saw this when we were in the undisclosed Saudi city, and I said that is maybe the most important thing that we bring away from here.
So make sure you get a copy of it.
I'm not impressed by gold.
Okay.
But and the reason is this. There's 12 seals on this.
12 seals.
12 tribal seals. And it's on metal. And it's like a one-page document. This is some kind of agreement, right? I can't think of any other thing it could be.
Right, because a seal, when you had an agreement, you would have the king's seal or whatever seal.
Yes, exactly. So this is an agreement between 12 tribes. Many of them are Hebrew. Maybe all of them are Hebrew because they have menorahs on their seal.
Wow.
They're different seals. So I'm looking at this saying, this may be the most important document. I said, make sure we get a copy of this when we go away. Of course, we didn't. The person said to do that.
He had it. He thought they had it.
And he didn't tell me they didn't have it.
And it transferred, and I'm looking through my iPhone trying to find the video that was sent to me, and it's not there. And we're like, oh, man.
That's the most important document of all of them.
So it's taken months to get reconnected to find it, and so they just sent it to us.
Yeah, we just got back in touch with our contact.
So this is the overall shot of it, and then we're going to drill down on it a little bit.
But you can see there's 12 seals here. That's why I recognize immediately this has got to be some kind of a document of major importance, an agreement of some sort, an ancient agreement, which is historically incredibly important. I don't know how important, but I know important when I see it.
And do you recognize any of the letters in the middle? Like you said, there can't be a
I recognize that these letters are the same as we see in the rest of the Beni Qurayza archive. So they come from the same time and from the same people we're talking about.
So we have 3 minutes left. What can you tell us?
All right.
3 minutes.
Well, these are some of the seals. We're looking at some close-ups here. So now we have, like I said, now this one is important because I want you to see what looks like a ladder there.
Yes.
That is a ladder.
So Jacob's ladder, as you were describing earlier.
It came off the back of his RV.
It does look like an RV ladder.
No, but this is one of the icons that pops up all the time in their books.
Oh, okay.
Jacob's ladder.
And the tree.
Yeah. And
so they really rely on the very famous stories to sort of say, hey, this is Hebrew.
They're responding to that. So that's on their seal, right? And the name of God is on the seal. You know, and there's another seal that has the name of the house of Yah. That's on their seal. So these are Hebrew tribes in Arabia, and these are all letters that are consonant with the ones we already have. You can see the menorah on this one, and some other writing, and other seals. Some of them we can't see completely because it's probably not that easy to emboss it, even if the lead was hot. But we're seeing them.
Wow, amazing.
So there's a lot of menorahs, right? But they also have little differences in them.
So you're able to verify that there are 12 distinct seals.
There are 12 seals.
Yeah.
There are 12 seals, and they are different. They're all different. So we're looking at something.
Each one of these is different.
Yeah.
Different slide. That was the last slide.
Many of them have menorahs on them, so it's probably an agreement, I would think, among 12 tribes of Hebrew tribes living in Arabia around the Mecca area.
So will part of this be try to correlate, maybe look at each of these seals and where each one of these tribes may be known for a certain thing and see if maybe it correlates with one of those seals?
Yes, we would definitely do that. But we know these are mentioned in history. I mean, we have historical, mention of the tribe of Beni Korez and some of the other Hebrew tribes. So we know they existed at that time. So that's undoubtable.
All right, so there you have it. We're going to have to hold on to that. We're going to have to hang on for more later because we've run out of time. But anyway, there you saw it first. First time ever seen. These guys only got this thing a couple of days ago back in their possession. So you are the very first people to see the 12 seals. Incredible stuff. We're going to come back with more next week, so join us again. So thank you for watching Shabbat Night Live. Until then, Shavua Tov and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Torah fans. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Tap the subscription button and the bell icon. And I promise to update weekly with in-depth biblical research. Be sure to download the new michaelrood.tv app for both mobile and home devices for even more commercial-free content.